what's going on YouTube? Mr. Football here, and today I'm going to be coming at you guys with a special video here today about how to get into coaching. Because people have asked me before, how I got into coaching or what is the best route to get into coaching. So I'm going to go through just some points that I have on, how does it, or what is the correct way, or what is the best way to get into coaching. There are several different avenues and ways you can get into coaching. Obviously, we can talk about if we're wanting to get into coaching, how you get into coaching at the high school level, at the youth level, at the college level. There's so many different ways. We're going to strictly just talk about high school today and just talk about what it's like to get into the school system and to be able to coach at that level. So I'm going to give you my best route as far as like how you get there, what you have to do in order to complete that side of it. There's a lot of programs out there, but the one thing that most, and this is what I'm just going to start off with, your best route to get in as a coach and to be paid for being a coach is to become a teacher. I mean, that's the bottom line. In order for you to be a coach, you have to be a teacher. There's just not jobs out there that pay a good enough salary just to be a coach. You almost have to have something else. If you're just wanting to be a coach and that's what you want to be, for the rest of your life, that's what your career is, you've got to be a teacher. That's what I am. I'm a licensed teacher. I've been teaching now for 6 years, and I've been coaching along the way with that. It's just part of it. I can remember going through college many years ago, and people being like, "Oh, I don't want to coach," or I don't want to teach. I just want to coach. And the professors that we were, under, they just looked like this person was stupid, and they were, they didn't belong there because you have to teach, and that's why you have all these courses to teach. But the bottom line is you got to go to a 4-year school. There are 2-year options that can transfer you to a 4-year, but I'm not sitting here going to tell you what's the best college there, because none of the colleges really matter. As long as they have an accredited teaching program and they can get you in the door and you can have a license in hand, you have to take the rest of it from there. The thing, and all states are kind of different the way that they do this, but on my teaching license, I have a coaching endorsement. And there were college classes that I had to take that met a certain criteria that said you can have a coaching endorsement on your license. And so I coach in Arkansas, and so that's how our accreditation works as far as other things. And if you don't have that coaching endorsement, you have to take some classes online to do that through, I think, NFHS. And that's as far as what I know of, but I don't have to go through that route. I've got it until, I've got it forever, basically. But that college is important. The 4-year college, obviously, the teaching license, having the coaching endorsement. But the bottom line is, and this is the thing that's crazy, is when I was going in, I was in a teaching coaching program. And so my license or my degree is in health and physical education. And I've taught very little health and physical education since I've been a teacher. I've had it a little bit here and there during my first job, but I'm not an expert in health and PE. My first job I got, I was a science teacher, a high school science teacher. And so I actually worked at an alternative school, got biology as kind of my main area of focus, taught biology and environmental science. And then now I've moved up to AP biology, which is crazy in itself. But I think if you can teach a course such as math or science, you are an extremely hireable person. Because the bottom line is people don't want to teach math. People don't understand math. I mean, there's some math I don't understand, but I teach science, and that's the next best thing to math. And so if you have math or science and you can do those things and that's what you enjoy, if you can teach those things, you're a very employable person as far as getting into coaching. And doing that on the side and saying, hey, we can hire this person as a defensive coordinator and then also teach science. And that's how I got in. The next thing that helps you is you've got to have connections, and that's a big deal. And some people just don't have connections. And basically, you have to go off solely of your resume and what you can do. But having the license and having you're a very employable person and making those connections, you can really get hired. And you'll go through the interview process like everybody else does. And if you're the right person for the job, then you're the right fit and you get hired. Um, the next thing that I would say is, especially if you're a young coach and you're getting into coaching, and you have no idea what coaching is. You may have an idea of what coaching is, but truly, I'm going to speak to you. And I've only been coaching for 6 years, but I know a heck of a lot more now than I did when I started. I didn't know anything when I first started, and that's the honest truth. I didn't know in football how blocking schemes meshed with plays. I didn't understand route concepts. I didn't understand defensive run fits. I thought I was a defensive guy for a long time, and I understand defense. But once I learned and was able to go out and research defenses, and I was able to learn more from older coaches and learn from people that have done it. And once you figure it out, I mean, you're pretty much good as golden. But I think being an active learner throughout your coaching career is important, especially if you're a young coach going in. And I can just be upfront with you. They're not going to ask you, like in an interview, they usually don't ask you like your opinions on certain offensive schemes, or they're not looking for that. All right. They're looking for somebody that's going to work. All right. That's the bottom line. You've got to be willing to be a working person. You've got to be able to kind of be a yes, sir, yes, ma'am kind of a person. I mean, whoever you work for, you've got to be able to work as a young coach. And unfortunately, a lot of young coaches get the crappiest jobs, and that's how it works out. I mean, when I first got into it, I was a youth coach. I was coaching Pee Wee, sports, and it was within our school. But I mean, I wanted to coach high school football. Like that's what I wanted to do. And so I didn't get to really do that my first year. I was more of a volunteer and went along on, I basically filmed all of our games just because I was an extra person there that was willing to get into it. And so my first year, I didn't have any, varsity coaching experience. I helped a lot as much as I could, but I was also, the Pee Wee coach. So I had to, put all my time and effort into that. But I had to be willing to go out and film and show that I wanted to be there, stay late, help paint the fields, and be there and be a part of the coaching staff, but maybe not in like a full capacity of having a position or having some role on the team. That was my role. I was a volunteer, and then the next year I got into it and I was full time. So that's what you have to do sometimes to get into it. So, like I said, if you go to college, you can get the teaching license and you can teach a subject like math or science or something that's extremely needed. I see too many PE teachers, too many history teachers. It just overfloods the teaching pool, the market of teachers that are coming out of high school or coming out of college. It's just a very the word I'm looking for is like polluted because there's so much. So if you can teach something like math or science or be willing to learn that, that's a big deal. And like I said, you need to be an active learner. You don't know anything when you first get into it. There's so much that you don't know about how everything works. Like other things, like I mean, how do you fundraise? How do you deal with parents that are mad about their kid not getting playing time? How do you manage, a roster of 75 players? Like how do you manage that? Like there's so much that you have to learn, and it comes with experience. It comes with practice. So you have to be willing to do a lot of work and put in a lot of time. You can't just go home sometimes. And the thing about it is sometimes you just can't go home at 3:30 like everybody else. I'm staying late most times. If you have a family, it's hard to be a coach, especially if you have a family already. If you're a single person, you don't have any ties, you can do whatever you want. I mean, yeah, I could stay late and do laundry and, and scheme up plays all night I wanted to, but now I really can't do that. And so you have to be very selective on your time. It would be a good time manager as well to be a coach, in my opinion. So, like I said, I hope that kind of gives you like just a basis of how to get into coaching, and that's just for high school football, because we could talk about this in a lot of different directions. I mean, we could talk about it at the youth level and even in the college level, which I don't really have any experience with in the college level, but it's pretty general in itself. But like I said, if you guys have any questions on this stuff, you're welcome to leave a comment down below and ask me whatever you else need to know about this stuff. Hope this was an informative video for you guys. Be sure to subscribe. Check out my other coaching related videos as well as my other videos that are on the channel. I have vlogs, football gear, and all other kinds of stuff that I review and stuff like that. So just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. We'll see you next time. Mr. Football out.